Brooksville, Illinois, a quiet working-class town where people wave from their porches. Kids rode their bikes through quiet streets, and neighbors chatted in grocery store aisles. But on one crisp October afternoon in 2022, the peace of Brooksville was shattered forever. It began like any other Friday at the Cedar Avenue community office. The air was cool, the sky clear, and the sidewalks outside were lined with people. 30 black social workers and community supporters had gathered in front of the office to protest state budget cuts threatening vital social programs, mental health support, housing aid, and outreach for at-risk youth. They stood in a tight cluster, holding homemade signs. Some signs were neatly painted. Dignity for social workers. Protect our clients. Justice is not optional. The energy was positive, determined, but peaceful. These were people who spent their lives helping others. They were used to hearing thank you from the people they served. But on that day, someone else was listening. Someone who didn't see them as helpers. Someone who saw them as a threat. At exactly 2:14 p.m., the normal sound of the protest, the voices, the chanting, were torn apart by a sharp mechanical crack. Then another, then a third. At first, many thought it was construction noise from a nearby lot. But then, people started falling. From a far corner of Cedar and 8th, a man emerged. He was tall, broad-shouldered, white, mid-40s. His gray hoodie hung loose over jeans, but in his hands was an unmistakable black AR-15 rifle. He didn't yell. He didn't threaten. He didn't even look angry. His face was blank, his pace deliberate. And then he raised a rifle to his shoulder and squeezed the trigger. The first burst hit the front line of protesters. Signs splintered. Hands released their grips, and the air filled with the sound of panic. Some screamed and ran into the street. Others dove behind parked cars, clutching one another. But the shooter kept walking forward, each step bringing him closer, each shot echoing against the walls of nearby buildings. Placards dropped to the pavement. Some were splattered with dirt. Others were splattered with blood. In under 2 minutes, the attack was over. The shooter lowered his rifle, turned without hurry, and walked back toward a dark pickup truck waiting at the curb. The driver's door opened, and without looking back, he climbed inside and drove away. The aftermath was a scene no one in Brooksville would ever forget. 7 people lay dead. 9 more were bleeding and crying for help. A woman knelt beside a fallen colleague, whispering, "Stay with me, please," while sirens wailed in the distance. Police arrived within minutes. Paramedics rushed the wounded to local hospitals. The survivors were dazed, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Detectives immediately recognized the scale and brutality of the attack. Everything pointed to a hate-motivated assault. The rally had been advertised on community boards and social media. The killer had come prepared, but finding him wouldn't be easy. Witness statements were chaotic. People remembered flashes of detail. The gray hoodie, the rifle, the truck. But there was one thing no one forgot, the calm way he moved, as if he had rehearsed it. Then investigators found their first real break. A participant at the rally had been live streaming on her phone when the attack began. The phone had fallen to the ground in the chaos, but it kept recording. The angle was low, tilted sideways, showing nothing above the knees. But it caught something crucial, the shooter's boots. They were heavy, worn work boots, caked with mud, and stitched in the cuff of his jeans, just above the boot line, was a small Confederate flag patch. That detail would become the thread that unraveled everything. Detectives pulled local records, cross-referencing firearms ownership, prior hate crime charges, and anyone known to own a vehicle matching the witness description. The search led to one name, Daniel Kurtis. Kurtis, 46, lived in a rural part of the county. He had a documented history of racially motivated violence, including an assault at a racial justice march 2 years earlier. He legally owned multiple rifles, including an AR-15. And in photos from his arrest record, he was wearing jeans with the same Confederate patch. A surveillance camera from a gas station half a mile from the crime scene sealed it. At 2:09 p.m., just 5 minutes before the shooting, Kurtis's pickup was captured pulling out a lot, gray hoodie visible in the driver's seat. Police moved in. The search of his property uncovered the AR-15 used in the attack, along with ammunition matching the shell casings found at Cedar Avenue. Inside his garage, investigators found boxes of identical Confederate flag patches and printed flyers calling the protest an attack on American values. Ballistics matched the rifle to the spent casings. DNA and fingerprints tied Kurtis directly to the weapon. The trial was swift, but it was not easy for the community. Survivors took the stand to describe what they saw, their voices shaking, some breaking down in tears. Prosecutors played the audio from the fallen phone. The sharp cracks of gunfire, the screams, and the sound of heavy boots walking past fallen bodies. Kurtis sat expressionless. He offered no apology, no explanation. His defense claimed he was mentally unfit to stand trial. The jury disagreed. He was convicted on 7 counts of first-degree murder, 9 counts of attempted murder, and multiple federal hate crime charges. The sentence: life in prison without the possibility of parole. For the people of Brooksville, the verdict brought some measured justice, but not closure. A memorial stands outside the Cedar Avenue community office, where the names of the victims are engraved into a smooth granite wall. Every October, the town gathers there to remember them and to remind each other that hate will never go unanswered. The massacre left scars, but it also ignited something. Local leaders pushed through new security protections for public gatherings. Hate crime prevention programs received new funding, and the voices that had been silenced that day were replaced by hundreds more, speaking louder than ever before.